Welcome to the regular season finale. South Beach Palms versus the Tampa Bay Brigade. This is that rerun match that we didn't get to see in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh yeah, and that devil press right there, you already see what time it is out there. They're putting that chest right on those dumbbells. That is something that the refs are definitely looking for, and we're gonna see how well they perform out there on the grid.
That's right, Cody Rice switching out from Marcus Washington, totally fell off the grid. Amber Bose very safely doing those devil presses. Last time we saw her do those, she actually broke her nose on Heather Hudson's shoulder trying to leave the grid, make that transition.
Absolutely, and as you can see, there must be a teammate in the hashes before they can go on to the next element. So you see them waiting. Substitutions can happen at any time if you're paying attention at home. So lock in, make sure that we can see both those athletes on the hash marks.
That's right. As you said earlier, they're doing those pole-facing burpees. It's about 6 inches, over that pole, and that pole better not hit the floor because then it's the player's responsibility to make sure that those reps are completed. While somebody is completing the elements on the grid, their player has to be standing in that hash mark.
Yes, and as we were speaking earlier, Cassie, if that particular pole is knocked off on that burpee, that rep does not count. So they have to make sure that they are technically sound as well as completing the element.
That's right. Here's Hannah Bissett for the Tampa Bay Brigade, one of the smallest players on the grid. Remember, friends, this is two teams that we have planned on seeing, that they've been planning to play against each other. They're really prepared for this. Though there's some roster changes from the South Beach Palm side, they weren't able to have Heather Hudson here, but they usually have about 5 players anyway, so they're pretty much at that even level where they usually are.
Yes, and you see these two athletes right now on the grid. You can see the explosion it takes to get up off that ground with that burpee. They have to make sure both their feet land as they go on the other side, and you can see how locked in, and the race is going on right now.
That's right. They are switching out for 2 players. That's Seth Prohaska and Ariana Durham over there for the Tampa Bay Brigade. Here's Brandon Shipper and Sam Secord for the South Beach Palms. Now, one thing to remember, these 2 teams are trying their best to compete in the playoff match tomorrow. Okay, so it's pretty safe to say that whoever wins this match today is going to that playoff race.
Yeah, this is the time to let it all hang out, Cassie. There's no time to hold back. This is championship season, baby. So you already see how they're turned up out there. Look at that energy that they're putting forth to get over those burpees. Let's see who finishes this match strong.
That's right. It looks like the Tampa Bay Brigade are slightly ahead of the South Beach Palms here by just 1 rep. This is a really hard match format. Brandon Shipper, semi-professional water skier, really good at those devil's presses, pretty efficient. But the Tampa Bay Brigade are ahead by 1 rep, and a fall for Seth Prohaska that's going to cost them some serious time. And that is a photo finish. Both teams feel like they won that.
Wow, what a finish right there. We're going to see who, is there a replay out there, Cassie? I don't know. We got to see photo finish like you said. Let's see who pulled that out in the end.
We are definitely going to have to see that again. From my eyesight, it looked like the South Beach Palms were just very slightly ahead here. Just had that little inch, finished first, just kind of threw herself flat like a pancake across the finish line, which is super cool to see. But it was really exciting to watch.
Absolutely. Both teams come out the gate strong. This is the way you set it off here in Fort Lauderdale. Like I said, it's championship season. Listen, you got to put your best foot forward. You are top athletes out there, and they're going to perform at the highest level.
That's right, Byram, and you can really tell that these teams are hungry. Go ahead and take it to that camera on the grid so you can take a look at their faces here. They're absolutely just psyched up, proud of their performance, ready to get in there. They're very proud of their teams, happy to have their team back, because as I said before, the Tampa Bay Brigade didn't even have, all the players. They only had Rebecca Rouse and Dan Haberman for the Brigade at the Las Vegas match. In the meantime, I'm here with Jess Krezmien of the Tampa Bay Brigade. Jess has been gone for the last few matches, having just given birth. Jess, welcome back.
Hello.
How is training looking like now that your life has changed?
It's a little different. My schedule's no longer mine, but thankfully Maddie Lynn loves loud noises, so she sleeps pretty well while I'm at the gym, but it's going pretty well.
That's awesome. So Having just given birth, coming back to your team, everything that just happened in Vegas, you were in one of the areas that were affected by the hurricane. How are you feeling about your team today?
I know I say this a lot, but I'm freaking so excited. Our team is just so different this year, and it's just, I think everybody sees it and feels it, so I don't got to keep saying it, but they're ready. They are ready.
That's awesome. Is there anything specifically that you're looking forward to this match? Because this is something that you've been preparing for more or less for 3 months now. So is there anything that you're really looking forward to in this match format, or just about the match in general?
I mean, just the match in general, and just not having to remember so much in my brain about 3 matches. But just to watch all of our hard work finally just be on this grid, and how smooth and everything has been going, I want to see it play out.
Nice. Is there, some people might think it's easier to kind of prepare for this match, being that it was planned 3 months ago, but being how everything changed and kind of people were switching positions, is there anything that you would say was the most challenging part about putting this together?
I think the most challenging part was just having to prepare for possibly 3 matches.
Yeah.
So we had this match really well planned out, and then some of the things changed because of Vegas, so now we put different people in different positions. So we had to rework a couple things just to make it a little bit more beneficial for having more people now. But yeah, it's been crazy trying to shove 3 matches into 2 weeks. But I mean, it's just been awesome. Everybody's stepped up and doing what they got to do. So
I'm so glad to hear that. So as far as next season goes, are we going to see you on the grid?
Are you? Is that a question? Is that a question? I was trying to get back on this in this match right now, but yeah.
Good, glad to hear it. We'll definitely looking forward to seeing you next season, and looking forward to seeing what your team does. Good luck with the rest of the weekend.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Mirror, the second race of every match, always features a barbell element. A male and a female barbell are placed in the first quadrant. Upon the start of the race, both are picked up by the team in any fashion by the 3 men and 3 women allowed in the race at any given time. Once the barbell leaves the ground, it may not touch the ground again until all reps are complete. If it does, the entire team must return to the start line before continuing. A set number of reps must be completed by both genders in each quadrant before the team can move on. Non-lifting players will act as the human rack to support the barbells as the team moves from quadrant to quadrant and switches performing players in the process as needed. Substitutions may happen at any time. Time stops when all reps are complete and the last player crosses the finish line. This strength-focused race has the most players on the grid at the same time and requires effective planning and practice to be executed well through coordination amongst players. Remember, don't drop the barbell in the mirror race.
This is how I alley pump.
I really do love this stuff. It's been a game changer. We keep it at our house now. Highly recommended. It's really good.
Really good. Perfect.
All right, folks, welcome back. We are getting ready for the mirror race here at Fort Lauderdale. The hang, squat, clean. 8 reps, 8 reps, 8 reps, 8 reps at every quadrant. Men's weight at 205 pounds, women's weight at 140 pounds. Clanging and banging, baby.
That's right, Byram. And as the video said earlier, those players have to be facing each other and complete all the reps in one quadrant, male and female, before moving on to that next quadrant. These are the hang squat cleans. As you can see, most people just go touch and go, bounce it off their thigh, and just descend into that squat to make it the easiest that they can. Here's Isabella Carvalho and Courtney Moss going into that next quadrant, slightly ahead of the South Beach Palms. I did misspeak earlier. The South Beach Palms did not win that partner forward. The Brigade won that partner forward. So the current score is 2 for the Tampa Bay Brigade and 1 for the South Beach Palms. Here's Jessica Placencia and rookie Cody Rice for the South Beach Palms. And we're looking at Jocelyn Williams and Dan Haberman for the Brigade. The Brigade remain just a few reps ahead of the South Beach Palms here. The South Beach Palms are trying to stay closest to the end of the quadrant as they can to make that transition super fast. You know, every second counts. So if they could just sprint as quickly as they can and just keep it close to the end, that'll be the best.
Absolutely, and you can see how teamwork is very, oh my goodness, the Palms almost dropped the barbell just now. Teamwork is very important. They got to
Yeah.
make sure that they can get to each quadrant correctly.
It looks like Jessica Plasencia was a little quick to grab that barbell from coach and owner Bryleigh Hansen. Here's Isabela Carvalho once again in that third quadrant. She was a little slower to getting the bar. It was almost like she was about to drop it. Hands in the air for the palms, and the palms are going to take that mirror.
Wow, great win.
That was touch and go from the very beginning. Both teams were kind of inching closer and closer. It was going back and forth, but that was definitely exciting when it just shows how hungry they are.
Absolutely, and they finished their breakfast out there, Cassie. I can say before in pregame, the Palms were really practicing this particular race. They were going back and forth with it, and it's just great to see their hard work come to fruition. They won that race just now. Great win by the Palms.
Yes, definitely, and it's really exciting when the teams are kind of switching who's winning, you know, so it shows just how competitive these two teams are against each other.
Absolutely.
You know, the Palms are not giving it up. The Brigade are not giving it up. So far, each team has one win. That leaves the score at 3-3 unofficially. But let's go ahead and look forward to that ringer point.
The ringer point race is the only race in the match that is chosen by the teams. There are 2 ringer point races in every match, one picked by each team from a set list of races determined prior to the season. Each ringer point race generally features one player, and there is a male and female version of some races depending on the race requirements. The head coach decides whether a male or female will perform the race based on what they feel is the best choice from their roster. There is a catch. A player may only be chosen once for a ringer point in a given season. This resets in the playoffs. This short and intense race allows teams to influence their opponent's performance both in-match and season-wide. Remember, choose your race wisely in the ringer point race.
Welcome back. We are looking forward to that ringer point race. That first one is going to be 40 feet of back handsprings, running back to that start line for a 4-point touch, and then they're going to sprint to the finish line. We have 2 players here. It's Hannah Bissett from the Tampa Bay Brigade and Bryleigh Hansen. Just look at the grid right now, Byram. You can see both teams are hungry. The ringer point brings a lot of nerves. It's one player. All the responsibility is on that one player. And just look at the size of the 2 players as well. You have to get to a certain point on the grid. Hannah Bissett is very small, but don't count her out. She is a bullet. She is so fast. This is going to be crazy to watch.
Absolutely. Every time we saw her in a ringer, she just flies up and down the grid. Listen, these are some of the fastest and most exciting races in Grid League. So everybody at home, all you viewers, tap in. You're about to see some exciting stuff out there.
Definitely. Bryleigh Hansen is really good at this ringer point race. Hannah Bissett is a rookie, so I can't speak to her abilities on this, but I know that they're very confident. Each team is very confident in whoever they picked.
I can't wait to see it. Here we go. We're ready to rock and roll, baby.
Once again, remember, it's a 40-foot back handspring, so they have to get as far back as possible, quickly control it to be able to run back to the start line. 4-point touch, which means both feet and both hands behind the start line touching the ground to sprint to that finish line.
And the 4-point touch is key. So let's see who remembers.
Definitely. It's really hard. It's really easy to mess that up, excuse me. So this is going to be really fast. Do not blink here.
Stand by. Race.
Bryleigh Hansen first to cross that start line. Oh, and she's already done running back to the start line. And Bryleigh Hansen is going to sprint. Hannah Bissett really close behind. Remember, for a ringer point to get credit, you have to finish within 20% of whoever won. Bryleigh Hansen undisputedly took that ringer point, was very fast, finished the handspring first to the start line. It was hers from the get. Now, the judges are going to tabulate to make sure that Hannah Bissett finished within 20% to get that 1 point of credit.
Absolutely, and it seemed like Hannah was right there for the great showing by the rookie. Not bad at all. She was right there, but Bryleigh showed her experience, and she's very stylish out there. I like her vibe. Both of them had a great style out there.
Yes.
That's one thing about Grid. Everybody has their own type of vibe and style out there, and that was great to watch and see just now.
Yes, it's a lot of fun to watch. They're so talented, and we're actually getting ready for a second ringer point race. In case you missed the action in Las Vegas, we have double the amount of ringer points in this match format, which makes it double the more exciting. So it's going to be very fun to watch. Who they send out now is going to be Courtney Moss from the Tampa Bay Brigade and Brandon Shipper for the South Beach Palms. We're going to be seeing a yoke carry at a whopping 500 pounds.
Oh, they got some big dogs out there. I call it the hound in the mountain out there, man. We're going to see how they get that yoke down the grid. It's going to be exciting. You're going to see some real strength at home, folks. So lock in, tap in, and let's enjoy.
That's right, 500 pounds. Just, you know, to put it in your brain, imagine like you're stocking for the apocalypse and you stock your fridge.
I like
and
that.
that fridge is how much they're going to carry on their back all the way to the finish line.
Those big fridges you get from Home Depot or something like that right there.
Those deep freezers.
Yes, indeed.
And these are some big dudes that they're sending out. They're sending out their strongest, their fastest, and you kind of want to send whoever's the widest, you know, to be able to carry that on your back and get it off the floor. Because a lot of times what we'll see happen in this ringer point is that yoke will tip forward and kind of scrape the ground, and they'll kind of lose their momentum. You want it forward leaning, but you just want to make sure that it's not enough to scrape and mess you up on the way to the finish line, because whoever gets there first wins.
Yeah, so there's some nuances in your technique out there. Regardless of what you're doing in each element, it's not just the strength portion of it, it's exactly knowing how to do it, your strategy.
That's right, Byram. So, Courtney Moss for the Tampa Bay Brigade, Brandon Shipper for the South Beach Palms. Once again, semi-professional water skiing. Courtney Moss, personal trainer, group trainer, and, you know, all-around big dude. I saw a video of him squatting 500 pounds the other day like it was butter. I was like, man.
Goodness gracious.
I was just thinking over to this ringer point, and I was just like, man, I know that this is going to be his jam.
All you fitness folks at home, all you viewers in the chat, what is your heaviest squat? Everybody loves squat. We're going to see some great squats out there today.
Good question. Mine is 230.
Really? I think mine was like 275. You know, I got bad knees now. I can't do it no more.
And I'm trying to catch up to you then. You're the perfect person for me to compete with.
Oh, man. Hey, I'm here for you. All right, we see them getting ready out there. As you can see, folks, on the camera, they are ready to put that yoke on their shoulders and carry it down the grid. Let's lock in with them and see how they get that heavyweight down.
That's right. I'm sure that they've been looking forward. You know, they've had the ringer points chosen for a while. It was just the hurricane that kind of messed up everybody's flights to get to Vegas. In case you're just joining us, the Brigade were part of the super team and got an extra 2 points counted towards their differential because of Rebecca Rouse and Dan Haberman competing on that super team. You can find out more about it on the YouTube channel and as well as on our Instagram. Brandon Shipper versus Courtney Moss. We're going to see this ringer point go down right now. Brandon Shipper first to pick it up, but can he keep that momentum going? Got to make sure it doesn't scrape the ground, and he just took it and ran away with it. Courtney Moss very close behind. That was Shipper's from the start. Once again, that was such a great ringer point here. Courtney Moss very fast on it as well, but Shipper just did something to it that it was you know,
that was amazing.
He was running with it.
Yeah, and we just saw the Palms take both ringer points, so that's very important. They started out a little slow as Tampa got that first point, but as you can see on the grid, you never know from match to match who's going to win. Great win by the Palms there.
That's right, Byram. And one thing to remember that's really important is we have to go off of the point differential, right? So the Tampa Bay Brigade right now as a team stand with a 7-point positive point differential. The South Beach Palms -5.
Wow. Okay.
Right? So they have a definite deficit to overcome to be able to be considered for the playoffs tomorrow. So they basically have to blow the Brigade out of the water during these matches. So we're going to see if they're able to overcome a massive point differential.
Yes, they have a tough task in front of them right now. As we spoke earlier, depth is an issue. So, you know, they only have so many players that they can substitute in and out, but we know these Palms have a lot of heart, led by their leader, Bryleigh Hansen. So we're going to see them put their best foot forward out there today.
That's right, Byram, and we'll be right back.
The Echo Race is made up of 4 stations of elements that each must be completed before moving on in the race. 1 male and 1 female are allowed on the grid at any given time, but only 1 player at a time can perform reps. Substitutions may happen at any time. Once the Echo Race is complete, get ready, because the same race will be repeated 45 seconds later. This race is about managing fatigue with your best players and leveraging roster depth to keep performance at a max pace through the second Echo. Remember, get ready to do it again in the Echo race.
We about to die, both of us, out here in the sands of Miami.
I'm so nervous. I'm never usually this nervous, and I'm super nervous.
This event is called High Rocks. This is the Miami one. It's a little bit different. Usually it's indoors. This one's out on the sand, on the beach. So,
In total, it's 5 miles of running, but in between every 1,000 meters, there's an event of some sort. So like a sled push, sled pull, a ski, a row, burpees, lunges. Like there's a bunch of different stuff you have to do in between a bunch of runs.
it's outdoors. It's hot. It's like over 80 degrees here. So I'm nervous. I'm gonna fall over and cramp and have like an array of muscle cramps all over my body. So hopefully Element saves me today.
Like I'm getting nervous. I want to go look at things and like we're done.
Walking, nervous, cramping, water.
No, it's gonna be, hey, it's gonna be a fun day.
Oh my God. From the lifting to the high skill gymnastics to the dying and the triads.
On the grid, hang cleans and anything gymnastics. So anything like double touches, triple touches, muscle ups.
Not sure how grid and high rocks are gonna go hand in hand, but we're gonna find out.
We are back. We're getting ready for that Echo. It's going to be a 150-pound heavy D-ball over yoke. Men's height is 65 inches. Women's height is 45. And then it's followed by toes bar, followed by double touches, then triple touches. That is a complex of a gymnastics movement, followed by toes to ring to back up rise. And finally, we're going to finish off with a barbell complex at 175 pounds. A clean and 2 thrusters for the men and a clean and 2 shoulder to overheads for the women. And once again, it is called the Echo because it echoes.
Echo, echo.
That's right, we are on the grid. We are going to see this exact same race twice. 45 seconds of transition time in between, so not a whole lot of time to kind of strategize and change something if it didn't work in the first place. Now, usually what we'll see, if somebody wins by a large margin, they'll usually throw their bonus flag on the second one because it's pretty safe to say that they'll win that one.
Yeah, and I'm just excited to see how these two teams perform. They got to get that D-ball over as well as they can, any way they can. They just got to get it over. So that's going to start them off right, and let's see how they can get on to the next quadrant.
That's right. We're seeing Brett Henry here of the South Beach Palms, and that's Courtney Moss over for the men on the Tampa Bay Brigade. It's been a while since we've seen Brett Henry. He's been gone for the last few matches. Amber Boast already onto that gymnastics complex. Cody Rice there waiting to complete some reps with her. A little bit of a stall from the Tampa Bay Brigade here. It's a really hard movement just because, you know, they don't really get a chance to practice this a lot. You know, it's hard to have the equipment and know where exactly to throw things over.
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to see Miss Marissa Oxenford, number 11. She was a gymnastics player at Temple University in 2014. So this is her element. It's always exciting to see gymnasts get out here and do their thing on these bars.
That's right. And for the South Beach Palms, we have a hand up, 5 reps remaining. This is a really hard movement. Remember, it's a complex. So we're looking at a toe to bar, a toe to chest to bar, and then a toe to chest to bar, 2 hips basically. So it's a toe to bar, double touch, triple touch.
Absolutely.
And you have to complete all 3 separately to get credit in succession.
Yes, and for the viewers at home, that first toe to bar must be a lockout, and those toes must touch the bar. So there are specifics that the referees are looking for so that they won't have a fault to give out.
That's right. There's 1 rep remaining for the South Beach Palms, 2 reps remaining for the Tampa Bay Brigade. Dainier Lansake waiting on the reins, and he is on to those toe-to-ring back up rises.
Now, I'm from the calisthenics world, Cassie, so you already know what time it is. I love this type of workout. Locking out is my thing, especially in competition. They have to lock out over those rings as well, so I'm loving what I'm seeing out there. Get that big heavy weight over that bar in those rings.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for saying that, because it's definitely important that they're locking out their elbows, and not only that their shoulder is staying over their wrist here. 1 rep remaining for the Palms. Oh, and Bryleigh Macurelli is already on to that next element. Rebecca Rouse starting just behind her. Bryleigh is really good at these. She used to play for the Fort Lauderdale Lions. Now she plays for the South Beach Palms. She is going to switch out Marcus Washington, taking the reins from her. He has to do a clean and 2 thrusters as a male. The women have to do a clean and 2 shoulder to overheads. Jake Haggerty coming onto the grid for the men and the Tampa Bay Brigade. There is a hand up for the South Beach Palms. A hand just came up for the Tampa Bay Brigade. Sam Secord on the grid for the Palms. 3 reps remaining for each team.
Marcus Washington, the 2022 MVP, trying to finish strong. Here we go.
Sam Secord losing a little bit of momentum here. Jake Haggerty, 1 rep remaining, and the Tampa Bay Brigade steal it.
Wow, they had it. The Palms had it. Bryleigh Hansen was pleading with their team. She was trying to, it was a little choppy right there at the end, but Tampa Bay pulled it out. Once again, it's going back and forth, back and forth. The Palms had a chance to pull it out, but we're going to see how they can regroup for the next race.
Definitely. It wasn't close enough that I would say that somebody is going to take the bonus flag and throw it. It was very, very close. It was separated by, you know, like 1 or 2 seconds. So I wouldn't call it something safe to be able to take off.
Absolutely. And even though we spoke on the depth that the Tampa Bay Brigade have, these Palms have a lot of heart right now. They're tip for tap right now. Listen, we're going to see what happens in the long run. Got a lot of race going, and we got a lot of race left.
Absolutely. It looks like there's a little bit of discussion on the grid with the commissioner. We have to make sure that all the standards were met and everything was good, as well as the equipment. It looks like he's conversing with her over here on that top right-hand corner of your screen. We'll find out what just happened in just a second. It's only supposed to be 45 seconds of transition time to not allow them to be able to kind of rerun and re-strategize and do everything.
You'll have about 18 seconds before we kick off the second half of our echo.
All right, this echo is about to take off again. As you heard, we have a few seconds left. We're going to see if the Palms can get that win that they really wanted. They were right there, as we said. So we're going to lock in and see how these 2 teams get it on the grid.
So they're going to switch balls for the second half.
So it looks like they're going to be switching balls for the second half of this echo. Reason being is something on the equipment side just to make it more fair. And it looks like the ball was hard. So it looks like the sand inside the bar was kind of like cementy. So it gave one team an advantage over the other. Maybe that's why we saw the Brigade struggling a little bit on that D-ball over yoke. So we'll definitely have them switch that just to make it fair for each team. You know, we do the echo twice. It's the same exact thing twice, just to make sure that they have that same, you know, like thought in their head that it's going to be even and all that stuff.
Exactly.
And here we go. We have Hannah West from the Tampa Bay Brigade. That's Jess Placentia for the South Beach Palms. Once again, it wasn't a whole lot of transition time. It was a little bit of extra transition time, just because we had to talk a little bit about that standard and stuff. But it looks like they're kind of running the same strategy that they had before.
Absolutely, and if you're the viewers at home, this looks sort of like the old Atlas rock, you know, from the strongman competition when they have to put the rock up there. That's an amazing element that they're trying to get through. Something that you can try at home.
Definitely. The South Beach Palms once again finished that D-ball over yoke ahead of the Tampa Bay Brigade. It looks like the problem wasn't the ball after all. It was just kind of a strategy thing. They just aren't as fast as the South Beach Palms on that. They sent out Adur Cabral for the South Beach Palms to do these gymnastics movements. As you can see, his feet graze the ground. One of the tallest guys in the grid league. Really impressive that he's able to do these gymnastics at such a high level. Amber Bose is going to be switching out for Bryleigh Hansen. Hannah Bissett just started on those for the Brigade.
Absolutely, and we see the Palms starting to slow down just a little bit. Again, depth is a factor. When it comes to grid league, you want to make sure you have enough players to sub in and out. As we told you in the beginning, the Palms are suffering with the missing of a few athletes, so we're going to see if they can pull it together, have some heart out there, and finish strong.
Yeah, it looks like the South Beach Palms have just 2 reps remaining on this complex, which is one of the hardest parts about this Echo race. That rig is swinging.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of weight on it, a lot of crazy stuff being done. Danir Lansake once again coming for those toe-to-ring backup rises, and he is going to start ahead of the Brigade. 2 reps remaining for the Brigade until they can move on to that same thing. Sam Secord lying in wait to touch that heavy barbell.
Yeah, and this is kind of what happened in the first Echo race. The Palms were ahead a little bit, love their technique. Let's see if they can finish strong. They're already at the snatches there. Let's see what happens here.
That's right. Danir Lansake finished with those toe-to-ring backup rises. Sam Secord starting on the barbell complex, already 2 reps ahead of the Brigade here. Looks like Sam is running out of gas. She's going to hand it over to Brandon Shipper once again for the females. It's going to be a clean and 2 shouldered overhead. The men have to do the same weight, but it's 2 thrusters just to make it a little bit harder. Kyle Massey coming onto the grid for the Brigade. He used to play for the Aces, had a little bit of an injury, took a season off, was actually assistant coaching for the Brigade, and now he is playing.
And Brandon is a straight beast out there. He just finished with the yoke. He's finishing it up with the cleans there. And Bryleigh's excited. You see, it's the same thing there in the first Echo. It was a little choppy there at the end at the final quadrant. Let's see if they can finish out strong.
Yeah, it looks like Brandon Shipper's really fast on these. They're just going to tire him out and have him do the entire rep remaining. Just one finger in the air for the Palms, and they're going to finish ahead of the Brigade. They were able to take that second one. Good thing nobody threw that bonus flag. That was a tough one. A lot of things happening on the fly that they had to adjust, especially from the Brigade side with that D-ball over yoke, which is once again a hard one if you don't have the equipment to practice with it.
Yes, and the thing about the Grid League, we're all about fairness here. So yes, you spoke about that med ball being a little heavy there at the beginning. They switched it over, made sure it's equal. We want the teams to win. We wanted it to be fair for all the players. So once again, we saw the Palms pull it out. I know they wanted both of those wins though. They were so close, but still that was a great way to finish up there and going on to the next match.
Absolutely. It looks like that score is unofficially going to be 11-7. All right, so that's a slight lead for the South Beach Palms. It's still anybody's match. They have to go over and see just how many they can win, because once again, the Palms have a drastic deficit to overcome if they're going to want to inch the Brigade out of the playoffs.
I like how they're doing out there, Cassie. You know, they're doing great as we expected them to do. They have to finish strong, though. They have a lot to overcome, but the way they came out just now was simply amazing.
Absolutely, and we will be right back.
We are now resetting our grid floor.
The ladder consists of 2 rows of 4 stations of a strength-based element, 1 row for males and 1 row for females. The weight increases as you move down the grid. Teams send out 1 player at a time, alternating male and female, to perform the designated lift for the match format. Each successful lift has a point value that is added to the team's ladder score. The point value is equal to the quadrant the barbell is sitting in. Players are allowed 1 lift attempt per quadrant and may skip any quadrant they choose, but are never allowed to backtrack once a barbell is passed. The team with the highest total point value at the end of the 4-minute time cap wins. This race is one of the most strategic and coach-reliant of all of the races. As a good game plan and in-the-moment decision-making, to manage time is everything. Remember, lift heavier and score higher in the ladder race.
Deciding to be a mom wasn't a hard decision because I feel like I've always wanted to do it at some point. It was hard to choose when to do it. Like, I still feel like I'm a 20-year-old, and I'm like, I'm not mature enough to be in charge of a human life. And it's like, oh man, when do I want to stop this trajectory of like, I'm getting better and stronger and all this stuff to like put everything on hold and stop everything. Because I just thought it meant like, not the end of the world, but you know, it's a big change when this is like kind of my whole life. I obviously talked to my doctor, and she was very supportive. She understands what I do. She's like, just keep, you know, don't stop doing what you're doing. Like, it's good. Keep doing what you're doing. Ariel Lowen, when I saw her and I was like, oh my God, she's a mom and she can do all this stuff and she's fantastic. Like, I immediately gravitated like towards her. And I'm like, wait, I can still do this when I'm pregnant? I'm like, okay, let's go. I'm not as scared to do this now because I can still participate. It definitely helped knowing like, hey, this life doesn't end after you have a baby. Like it in some cases it gets better. Like you get more fit, like the mom strength and all this crazy stuff, which I didn't understand until I was going through it, which has been pretty cool. I mean, mass moves mass, right? I gained 30 pounds, so I want to use it for something. There's so much research now that exercise and fitness just helps the well-being of the baby and helps labor and recovery and all that stuff. But just to fight back against like these old school 1950s stereotypes of like, oh, you're pregnant, you should just be barefoot and just laying in bed like a turd. I enjoy just pushing those boundaries and like making people uncomfortable of like, should she be doing this? And I'm like, no, you're right. I should just sit on the couch and be unhealthy and not help my baby to grow a strong heart. Like I've said, I'm pregnant, not broken. Like just because I'm pregnant doesn't mean I have to stop everything I'm doing. Yes, that some things will obviously change, but that means different stuff for everybody. It doesn't mean that you stop what you're doing. That's like the opposite of what you should do. Knowing that all this stuff is gonna help me, I mean, people can be upset as they want. They're not in my shoes, they're not doing what I'm doing, so they can stay in their mom's basement and be upset.
Take care of my finances?
I got plenty of time for that.
I didn't have plenty of time.
Procrastinating on your finances has a way of stacking up. A membership with Facet is a quick and easy first step to get your finances in order.
I'll get to that tomorrow.
Now is the time to take action. Go to Facet.com to get started on your financial wellness journey today.
Peachy athletic shorts, guys. Just saying. Looking peachy.
And the peaches are great. They're really stretchy. They're soft.
I like the fit. I like the fabric. It makes me just feel more comfortable while I'm working out. I don't have to worry about things coming out.
Love training in these shorts. Love competing in the shorts. They stay put. Got a really nice thick waistband.
They definitely pass the squat test and the booty test. They're really comfortable. Like I could wear them out and I could wear them on the floor.
So I still feel covered, but able to do all the movements.
Go get yourself some.
All right, folks, welcome back. We are getting ready for the ladder match, snatch and hang clean. 1 point per quadrant. I'm sorry, snatch and hang snatch. My apologies. Men's weight will be 175 pounds, 195 pounds, 215 pounds, and 235 pounds at the fourth quadrant. The women's weight will be 105 pounds, 125 pounds, 140, and 155 at the final quadrant. So as you can see, the weight gets heavier as they get down the quadrant, but not as many reps.
That's right, Byram. And once again, they will complete one hang plus hang snatch, which is a complex in each quadrant. I've said it once, I've said it a million bazillion times. This is my absolute favorite ladder. It's so easy to mess up. It's so easy to get easily kind of, you know, fatigued here and go too fast and mess up a very technical movement in the snatch. So it takes a lot of strength, but it also takes a lot of level-headedness and strategy here.
Yes, and you will see some of the... Go ahead, Cassie, sorry.
Teams are off. Now
well, you're going to see certain athletes, they're going to skip certain quadrants, you know. They're not obligated to go 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to see some that go for the heaviest weight so they can get the most points possible. So we are excited to see how both these teams perform today.
That's right, Byram. Thank you so much for pointing that out. And the reason being for that is because whatever quadrant they're in is going to denote how many points they get. So as they just completed the third quadrant, that means they get 3 points for that quadrant. Quadrant 2 is worth 2 points. Quadrant 1 is 1 point. And at the end of this race, they're going to tabulate the score and announce who wins this ladder. Here comes Abdul Cabral for the South Beach Palms and Dan Haberman for the Tampa Bay Brigade.
And you're going to see certain athletes that know what their limits are. They know what strength they have within themselves, so they're going to go straight to those weights. Remember, they're trying to get as many points possible, and I think, Cassie, it's double points in this race for the Tampa Bay Brigade, correct?
That's That's right. So it is double points for the Tampa Bay Brigade because they were only able to play the super team matches and get a total of 2 points. So in order to make it even, they will be having double the points while the South Beach Palms get the regular amount of points at the end of the race. For example, if it finishes and the score is 15 for the Palms and 10 for the Brigade, that means the Palm will remain with 15. But if it's 15 for the Brigade, they will actually win by a differential of 10 if they win by 5 points.
Absolutely. And when we were in Vegas, Cassie, when they were clinking and banging out there, we actually felt the earth shake. So it's a little bit more steady here in Fort Lauderdale. But if you can imagine back home how heavy this weight is when they're throwing it up and they're snatching it, listen, it's some big girl and big boy weight going on out there.
That's right. Both of the ladies from both teams just finished that fourth bar in the fourth quadrant. Cody Rice over here in that third quadrant. Courtney Moss coming over to make a fool of that third bar. Cody Rice, rookie, doing that last bar. That's a good snatch. Can he hit that hang snatch? Oh! He misses it behind him. It wasn't the strength, it was the timing, just being able to be steady overhead under it. Amber Bose doing that first bar really easy. She's going to come over to that second quadrant. Meanwhile, that's Jocelyn Williams over there. She makes very pretty of those snatches. She does compete in Olympic weightlifting, so you'll see her do all the movements very nicely too.
Absolutely. Now, the one thing you want to keep in mind too, as you get fatigued, your technique is a factor. You want to make sure that you avoid any type of injury, but you will be pushing your body to the limit to get your best reps for it. So we're enjoying seeing these athletes put it on for themselves out there.
That's right, Jocelyn Williams. That's going to be a fault in that fourth quadrant on the hang snatch. Brandon Schimmer going to that fourth bar, makes the snatch. Can he make the hang snatch? Oh, and he misses it out in front. Man, we're seeing a lot of misses from people who don't usually miss these ladders. Once again, this is a very technical ladder. This is why it's one of my favorites. It's really hard to tell who is going to win this just by watching if you're not looking at the scores.
Yes, absolutely, and I keep saying absolutely, I'm sorry, but you can see both of these athletes out here going crazy right now. That's a lot of heavyweight that's going up. I think fatigue is a factor for the Palms right now, but they have a lot of heart, and we are enjoying what they're doing out there.
That's right. That's a good fourth quadrant for Brett Henry. Here is Hannah West in that third quadrant. She is a rookie. This is one of her first matches ever. Sam Secord coming out for the South Beach Palms. Good snatch and good on the hang snatch. Very easy power there.
Nice. What I'm enjoying seeing as well is the substitutions, Cassie. You can substitute at will. These athletes can go in and out. I like how they're going to the weight that they know that they can get to. Both these teams are excited. The Palms are very excited right now, and we're going to see if they can finish up strong.
Yep, it looks like that is all the time that we had for the ladder. It's really fun to see just how they choose to play this. You know, you could choose to skip that first bar because it's only worth 1 point and go on to the second quadrant because it's worth more. If you feel like you're able to send more of your players through, you really have to be able to be conscious of the timing and really testing your players to see at what times they're finishing off their kind of strategies here with the snatches, how fast they're able to go through the ladder, technically sound. We're going to go ahead and send it over to Byram on the grid with Marcus Washington.
We are here with Marcus Washington, 2022 MVP of the Grid League. How do you feel about your team's performance so far?
I feel good about our performance. We came out with a goal. We're doing that goal so far. I was a 22 MVP for the Palms, not the league. I'll still take it. I'm feeling proud right now. We got a couple of races. We got this.
Now, depth is a factor. You can see, look over at that other team in Tampa Bay. They got a lot more players than you guys. How are you guys going to pull it together to try to get this win today?
I mean, since I joined the Palms, we always have a short team. We know sometimes it's not great to have a big team. All of us are close together. We got a couple guys out of state, but for the most part, our girls are our core team. All living for a lot of them. A couple of our guys are local as well. So even though we're small, we're mighty.
Why you keep coming back to Grid League? You can go anywhere else. I always ask the players this. I got to know.
Man, it's a lot of fun. Actually, after my first year, I thought about changing teams at one point because it's closer. I was going to play for the Palm Beach Breakers. Came back this year, excited. It's really the teammate. We're like family. I love it. Next year, I'm thinking about doing more of a coach-player type role. But the sport is awesome, man. It's growing. Vegas huge. Got the Buttery Bros coming out. I never got this much exposure in CrossFit, so I love it, man. I ain't going nowhere.
Oh, man, Marcus, I thank you. Great job, dude. All right, we'll be right back.
Element really helps me keep the intensity going.
Leading the Brigade.
And we are back. We're getting ready for those ringers. We already know what's coming. So let me just tell you who we got. It's going to be deficit handstand push-ups for the Tampa Bay Brigade. We have Chris Chaffee. And for the South Beach Palms, it's going to be Brett Henry. Two players of very, very different sizes. Chris Chaffee being on a little bit of the smaller side, which gives him an advantage because he has shorter arms. Brett Henry is much larger. So it's going to be interesting because it seems like the South Beach Palms are confident in him coming up. And it's also worth mentioning that the South Beach Palms were very confident because they won the last two ringer points too.
Yeah, absolutely. So shorter arms, maybe a little bit better, and for the technique, we're gonna see out there.
That's right, and we just received word that the South Beach Palms did win that ladder race.
Awesome.
It's a total score of 51 for the Palms and 49 for the Brigade. So that was just a very small differential, so the Brigade are still going to get that 1 point of credit. Unofficially, that score is at 13 for the Palms and 8 for the Brigade. We did just see a bonus flag. The Brigade are very confident in their abilities to win this next ringer point race. Chris Chaffee is a seasoned veteran. We've seen him do these handstand push-ups, one of the fastest males in the league. So they definitely threw that bonus flag knowing that they were going to win that.
Absolutely, and ringers are always the most fun race on the grid, the quickest, fastest races on the grid. So we're going to have a good time. Lock in, folks. We're about to see something special out there.
That's right. It's going to be 10 reps of 10-inch deficit handstand push-ups. Have you ever even tried to do a regular handstand push-up? That is hard. Imagine doing it at a deficit of 10 inches.
Let me tell you, Cassie, I tried a whole summer of trying to learn how to do a handstand. It didn't go well over for me. We're going to see how these athletes do it out there today.
That's right. Chris Chaffee from the Brigade, Brett Henry from the South Beach Palms. Chris Chaffee already 3 reps ahead of the Palms. Hand up for the Brigade. It's going to come down to the sprint. 1 rep remaining for Chaffee, and he is going to take it.
Woo! He smoked that fast. He's like a road runner out there, man. Look at him. He's so excited. The Brigade team is excited. Great win by that team. Palms are excited too. Not bad. Not bad. We're going to see how they regroup for the next race, though.
That's right. They're going to tabulate the times to see if the Palms get the credit, but undisputedly the Brigade are going to take that ringer point race. And remember, they threw their bonus flag, so they are going to get 3 whopping points for that, which is great for them to be overcoming that point differential right now.
Yeah, so they're really trying to stack their points. Again, this is a makeup match, so they're trying to get as much as they possibly can to try to put their best foot forward to get to the championship.
That's right. We're looking ahead to that next ringer because just in case you missed it, we're doing double the ringers this match format, just like we did in Vegas. These are the rerun matches. So we're going to see 15 ground to overhead. For the males, it's going to be 155 pounds. For the females, it's going to be 105 pounds. For the men, it's going to be Courtney Moss of the Tampa Bay Brigade. And on the female side, we have the South Beach Palms, Jessica Placencia. Now, these are 2 people that we see do this ringer point pretty often, especially Jessica Placencia. She's pretty fast with the barbell. 105 pounds is really light for her. And the same thing for Courtney Moss. It's just going to be a matter of who can do it to the standard the fastest.
And I know some of the viewers at home might say, well, there's a female out there and there's a male out there. Is it fair? Listen, these 2 players know exactly what they can do. They are doing ringers for a reason because that is their speciality. So we're going to see some great things. I'm really interested to see Courtney Moss out there do his thing. He's a beast. So let's see if he can lock in and show out.
Definitely. It's going to be awesome to see how they put it together. I know the Brigade are super extra hungry just because they're trying to close that differential in the points, trying to get as many as possible. They were just able to overcome a little bit, so we're going to see how they pull this out. Both teams sending out their best players for this, trying to see who can take it away from the other team the best. You know, the ringer points are whoever you think is going to be able to do the best here, that's who you send out. All right, there's no saving spaces here. This is everything they got for that playoff spot.
Gotta hang loose.
Gotta hang loose. Here comes the referees coming down the grid. We're gonna find out in just a second who is going to take this last ringer point of this match. Every match counts now, all right? So there's 3 more races left in this match.
And I gotta say, Cassie, I'm very, very inspired by the Palms. I know I keep speaking about depth, but it is a factor. You have to understand what this grid league is built on. It's built on depth. It's built on depth, rather. It's built on strategy as well. But they're not giving up out here. The Palms know what they're up against. They keep going strong. They keep putting their best foot forward. Let's see if they can pull out this particular race.
That's definitely right, Byram. And we're looking at the South Beach Palms have 14 points versus the Brigade's 11 points. So now that's only a 3-point differential. The Palms did get point for that last race. Jessica Placencia for the Palms, Courtney Moss for the Tampa Bay Brigade. Courtney Moss opting for those snatches. Oh, Jessica Placencia as well. This is very light for both of these people. Whoever can finish the fastest. You have to make sure your knees are locked out. You have to make sure your elbows are straight and over your head. You have to do it as quickly as possible. Hand up for the Brigade. Hand up for the Palms. 2 reps remaining for Courtney Moss. And he is to take it. Jessica Placencia finishing.
Courtney Moss out there strutting around like a big dog that he is, man. Great win by the Palms. He's very, very locked in, having fun out there. I love it. Great win by the Tampa Bay Brigade just now.
That's right. They're going to tabulate once again the timing that they finished in to see if it looks like there's some sort of dispute from the Palms because they're claiming that Courtney Moss did not meet the standards for those snatches. So they're going to see if it would have affected the outcome of the race, and based off of that, we'll see if we have to rerun. In the meantime, let's go ahead and take it to the 4th quadrant. Both of these teams are hyped up. The Palms are sure that they're going to get the chance to rerun that because of that standard, and the Brigade are just happy that they won that. They were able to finish it just a little bit faster, but it's all about finishing within the standard, right, Byram?
Absolutely. Now, one thing I want to say too, that if they have to rerun this ringer again, it's going to be interesting to see how fatigue is a factor or not, because they just went through it. It was very quick, but as you know, those muscles are firing. That lactate acid gets to hitting. We're going to see if Courtney can pull off that same performance if they have to rerun again.
That's right, and just from my opinion, from what I've seen just here at the booth, I could be wrong. I'll say that maybe those last 2 reps from the Brigade were kind of, you know, questionable. You know, feet weren't close together. You know, hips were behind the bar, which you have to make sure that you're perfectly in a straight line for that standard. Our standards here at Grid are a little bit different than you'll find at other sports such as CrossFit and such. So just in the spirit of fairness, to make sure that we're able to move on from this, because every point does matter. You know, you really have to argue if you feel like the other team are not doing it to the standard. You got to do everything you can to make sure that you're able to overcome and do what you got to do for your team to get those points.
Right. Now, they're not just throwing weights around it. They're not just throwing their bodies around there in reckless abandon. There are standards. There are techniques that the referees are looking for. There are faults for a reason. So there are specifics out there. Maybe the viewers at home are maybe not know them, you know, by heart, but there are definitely things that they're looking for out there that have to be accomplished.
Definitely, especially because the Palms are paying attention to things like that because it could affect the outcome of the race, but also because they have a major deficit to overcome here. The Palms have -5 points, one of the lowest of the people who are contending for a playoff spot, right? So -5 versus the Brigade's 7 points.
It's called gamesmanship, Cassie. When you got to look at you got to find any way you can get an advantage, especially when you're behind. You know, you got to find any little way that you can get your points. Make sure everything is on the up and up so you can make sure you get your points.
Definitely. So they're still reviewing. We're going to find out in just a second. They took it over to the commissioner. They're reviewing the footage, just like you would do in any other sport. We're looking forward to maybe having that feature one day so you can see for yourself and you can give us your opinion. In the meantime, you're free to rewind and let us know in the comments whether you think that they should have rerun that or not.
Yes. When we get that, what is it, the rerun, instant replay, oh, we're going to have some fun because I know everybody at home, sometimes you want to see certain races finish strong. You want to see the replay. So we're going to have that in the future very soon at Grid League. I'm excited for that.
Definitely. We're only growing and growing. In the meantime, make sure you like and subscribe. Ring that bell for the next time that we go live or post a video. This will be our last weekend of the season, but we are looking forward to that next season as we grow. We're getting a new team in the Houston Bandits.
Yeah, shout out to Texas, baby. They are in the grid now. We got a team from Texas. Houston, let's go. What do you think about that, Cassie?
I think it's amazing, and I can't wait to see who will be the next team that we sign to the Grid League as we grow and expand nationally. In the meantime, we'll be right back.
It was that I was afraid.
Oh, wow.
I was afraid of, letting go.
Wow.
So I was so scared. Sorry, I couldn't breathe. But then one day we were training at Brigade and at the practice, and Storm was like, if we could have one woman that could do this movement, that would change the whole season for us.
All right, Byron, we're going to take it back. We're going to see a rerun of that last ringer point race that we saw. Courtney Moss from the Brigade versus Jess Placencia of the South Beach Palms. We are 30 seconds out. Instead of the original amount of repetitions, it's going to be only 7 now because I'm sure everybody is pretty fatigued from what they just did. You know, that was 15 ground to overheads at a pretty moderate weight for both of these players. So they're going to rerun it in the spirit of fairness because it looks like they deemed that Courtney Moss's reps were not to the standard.
And that is correct, Cassie. That was definitely my concern about the fatigue. So once again, Grid League is all about fairness. Want to make sure everybody can have the best opportunity to put their best foot forward. So we have those reps. Something like an echo. We're going to do it again. And let's see if Courtney can get that win again as he did before, or let's see if the Palms can pull it out this time.
Definitely. It's fun to see them rerun ringers just because you can kind of see they recognize where they went wrong and improve massively. So we're going to see it happen right now. Courtney Moss of the Brigade, Jess Placencia of the South Beach Palms, that rerun ringer, 7 reps. Who can do it the fastest? Courtney Moss already a rep ahead. 3 reps remaining for Jess Placencia. Courtney Moss just slightly ahead, and he is going to take that ringer point race.
Again, strutting like a big dog that he is. Great job. Listen, he showed it, and he showed out. So that's his thing. Great job by Courtney Moss and the Tampa Bay Brigade. Had to do it one more time because of technicalities. He tightened it up way more cleaner than it was the first time around. He left nothing to doubt.
That's right. And Bryleigh Hansen was definitely looking forward to rerunning it just to make sure it was fair. She was very confident that they were going to do it again because of the standard issue. So I know that she's just happy that they were able to kind of make it fair like that. You know, she was smiling in the finish line even though they lost. It was pretty close. So they're going to see if they get the score for that. But from what I can see, it was very, very close. So no doubt in my mind they finished within 20% to get credit for that ringer point race.
Yes, the game is the game. Sometimes the other player is the better player. You just got to give it up, regroup, and get on to the next one.
That's right, and we will be right back.
Jack and Jill features 3 stations of high-level body weight-based elements that increase in difficulty moving down the grid. 1 male and 1 female are allowed on the grid at any given time, and only 1 player can be working at a time. The team can only move on to the next station when the previous station is complete. This race is the simplest when it comes to rules, but the most reliant on player skill and speed, as the hyper specialists often make the difference in the race. Remember, let the bodyweight ninjas fly in the Jack and Jill race.
You're more energized, you're more relaxed, you're more ready to hit a hard workout. For me, recovery happens at night when you cleanse your body and you get ready for bed and you get ready for the next day. So it helps me get into that state of calmness. So I feel less fatigued, I feel relaxed, I feel less inflammation when I wake up in the morning. So your recovery's here, but then you take early bird and your recovery goes to here. So it just elevates the recovery. It helps you then perform better the next day. So you need it. It's almost a necessity. It's part of my routine. It's part of my nightly routine. It helps people. It really helps people. Early bird all the way.
I don't think I'd be as healthy as I am and ready in terms of like season or during season without the team. Especially because there's a lot of high skill movements in grid, so they help keep my body healthy, they help me recover faster, especially when I have like little aches and pains or I get tight. And it's just been super, super helpful, whether it's everyday life or when I'm in season.
All right, folks, let's tap into the actual factuals of the Jack and Jill race. We got ring forward rows, 15 of those. We have deck to pull over. We have 10 of those, and we have deck to backflip, and those are 5. This is the body weight specialist at work, and we can't wait to see them get it on the grid.
That's right. Jack and Jill is called that because it's 1 male, 1 female on the grid at a time. They have to take turns completing elements, and they will be doing the exact same thing. Now, only 1 player allowed, but that doesn't mean they can't waterfall, meaning 1 player is going to go at a time while the other player is descending. So for example, they can't hit, if there's toe to bars, they can't hit their toes to the bar at the same time, but they could go one after another. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's really important that they make sure that they get that rhythm and they're sending the right people out for these. These are really hard movements, more of the advanced movements that we have here at Grid. So I'm excited to see it.
Absolutely, and I'm from the realm of calisthenics, so body weight is my thing. I love seeing them go to work out there. All the gymnasts too. Like I said, Marissa Oxenford, that's my dog over there from Tampa. I'm waiting to see her compete out there, and we got some good athletes over there for the Palms as well. We're gonna see them have some fun out there at this particular Jack and Jill.
That's right, and I'll say the Brigade is historically very good at these gymnastic movements, specifically because of Oxenford and Chaffee, and especially because they have Dalton Herrero back. He wasn't able to make the last match.
Shout out to Dalton, yeah.
Yeah, and Hannah Bissett as well. She's a rookie, but proved herself really valuable to the team. And the Palms, you know, they're missing Heather Hudson today. Oh. So it's a big hit, especially for things like this, because she was able to kind of do everything. She's like the ultimate utility player. So the fact that she's not here for this Jack and Jill is going to make it very interesting. But they do have rookie Dainier Lansake, who's proved to be really good on those rings. So we're just going to see who's able to pull it out.
And to me, Cassie, that's what makes what the Palms are doing today so much more incredible. They're missing a key cog, also missing depth, and they're putting their best foot forward. They got some heart, coming out with some fire. Let's see if they can compete out here at the Jack and Jill.
Definitely. Unofficially, that score right now is going to be 15 for the Palms and 13 for the Tampa Bay Brigade. Just a 2-point differential with the Palms at a slight lead. There are only 2 races remaining in this match, so every second counts.
And we can see them getting ready to lock in and stand by to get ready for this race. Once again, this is the body weight specialist part of the race. We're going to have some fun up there on those bars.
That's right. We're seeing Garrison Matthew here. Looks like he's going to be coming in for this Jack and Jill. He's hyping himself up, but it looks like it's at first going to be Marissa Oxenford and Chris Chaffee coming out there too. Bryleigh Hansen, of course, going to be doing the brunt of the work. A lot of their ladies on the Palms are more utility or strength style players, usually just handling the dumbbells and the barbells and things of that nature. So I see Bryleigh doing a lot more work than usual. Bryleigh, Hansen, Dainier Lansake, Marissa Oxenford, Chris Chaffee. Looks like the Brigade were able to get that first rep in ahead of the Palms. Marissa Oxenford a little bit smaller than the Palms, so she's able to complete that roll a little bit faster. You know, size has a lot to do with it, especially on these gymnastics movements. It's all about distance traveled. But these teams are doing really well in these rings so far.
And the refs are looking for fluid movements on those rolls. There cannot be any lockouts, anything like that. They're going to be a fault. So they want to make sure they get the full rotation around on those rings so they can get on to the next element.
That's right. And they have to finish that lockout at the end, as you can see Chris Chaffee kind of struggling with here. And Cody Rice is the first to those pullovers. Burpee pullovers have to touch your chest to the ground and come over the bar. He's really fast at these. He is a bigger guy. Garrison Matthews pretty fast on the other side as well. Bryleigh Hansen just waiting to do those deck to back flips. Hands up for both teams. Palms just one rep ahead here. We're able to kind of come over and get a little bit more momentum started here. One rep remaining for both players. And Garrison Matthews touched the ground first, but Bryleigh Hansen completed the backflip first. It's going to come down to that sprint, friends. There is just a few reps remaining.
Whoa,
and it looks like that was a photo finish if I've ever seen one. Woo.
They both slid into third base. Look at that.
I know
I don't
that
know who
hurt
was
their
that.
knees.
Who got that one?
Woo.
I'm excited too. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, no. I don't know what's happening. Both teams look very excited. I'll say probably the Palms took that from what I can see, but we're going to find out for sure in just a second. Leave a comment down below. Who do you think took that one? That was really, really close.
When we get that instant replay on deck, Cassie, it's going to be on, man, because some of these finishes are right there. The human eye can't even catch it sometimes, but we're about to see who pulled that one off just now.
That's right, Byram, and we are looking forward. Oh, and it looks like the Palms are announced the winner of that one. That's what I kind of thought too when I was seeing it happen in real time, but that was super exciting to see. We're looking forward to that sprint relay, our very last race of this match. We're gonna find out who goes to the playoffs, who is still a contender for it in just a second. In the meantime, we'll be right back.
The sprint relay is the final race of every match and is worth an extra point for the race win. It is a relay race with one player allowed on the grid at a time and 8 elements to perform. Any player can perform on any element, and substitutions can happen at any time, except when a player performs the last rep of an element. In that case, the player must run back to the start line, perform a 4-point touch behind the start line, and sprint through to the finish line, permanently leaving the race. The next player may enter once the previous one has crossed the finish line. The only exception is the distance element that ends at the finish line with no sprint back required. The catch is, 4 men and 4 women must finish the 8 elements. The sprint relay is a great balance of strategy to decide which players in what order are the best combination, along with clean and well-executed elements by the players, to lead to the best race outcome for the team. Remember, 4 men and 4 women must finish the 8 elements in the sprint relay.
Grid Wars! Yeah, baby!
Excited. This is going to be fun. I like stuff like this. Being able to coach and get people into it and have them have the first grid experience, it's going to be a good time.
Nervous, excited, never done this.
Really nervous, but it's going to be fun. Wish me luck.
Kill it.
1, 2, 3, Junior!
That was the spark we needed. It's electric in the air, baby.
Now we can do the mini grid.
Was amazing. The race was so funny.
All comes down to this, Mike. Let's go.
think we're going to be all right. And once we win this one, we win the whole thing.
No, back away. That's sportsmanship over here.
Fuck you! Pretty much gonna do the whole thing, and then I'm gonna run across and win.
What'd you do? Come on. What happened? I'm just kidding, Maya. I love you.
6 a.m. 6 a.m. Forever the best. Teammates. She beat me. Champ.
All right, folks, welcome back. We are getting ready for the final race of this match this morning, the sprint relay. These are 8 movements that we have to look into. 150-pound heavy D-ball over 45 yoke. We have the short rope climb, 8 foot to 15 foot. We have toe the rings into the backup rise, 150-pound D-ball carry to the third quadrant, back to the start and to finish. Deck to pistol over a 6-inch pole, 53-pound kettlebell squat snatch, 200-pound snatches, and ending in 200-pound clean and jerk. So we got a lot going on out there, folks. Let's enjoy. Let's have some fun.
Once again, you can check out Lubricant.
That's right, Joe, and we're looking forward to the sprint relay. This is going to determine kind of who still has a chance to go to the playoffs, all right? So we're going to find that out at the end of the next match, but this is kind of going to figure out who's going to be thrown out, essentially.
Yes, this is where all the fun begins, folks. We're really coming down to the wire. We're going to see who can pull it out. The Palms are still in the game. They can actually win and get to the chip. Tampa Bay can blow it out at the end here, too. So we're going to see what happens here on the grid.
That's right, Byram. And right now the score is 15 for the Palms and 13 for the Brigade. So it's only a 2-point differential. We're going to find out after this next one who wins this match. It's close enough that it's still anybody's match, and it's just exciting to see.
All the viewers at home, you're going to see a lot going on in the grid. It's going to look like controlled chaos, which it is in a type of way, but it's a lot of fun. This is what grid is all about. This final race right here, you're going to see a whole lot going on. So let's have some fun out there.
That's right, and it looks like there's a little bit of a review on the grid because the Brigade were forced to do an extra ring roll here. So they may be rerunning this last race that we just saw. They just had set up the grid for the sprint relay, but it looks like they just cleared it out, and we're once again going to see that Jack and Jill.
It's all about the spirit of fairness. We always speak about that as grid. We want to have the athletes be able to put their best foot forward and compete in a good way. So you're going to give them a chance to do it again, maybe. We'll see what happens here after this review.
That's right. It'll happen in just a second. They're thinking about rerunning it, and we'll find out in just a second.
Absolutely. So we just got to sit back and relax and see what happens here.
Yeah, both these teams look really hungry. We want to make sure that they don't get cold either. You see some people doing like air squats, just making sure that their muscles are still warm. We did have a long commercial break right now, and it looks like, they just have to like keep warm, keep their body warm, be able to do it. And it looks like we are going to rerun it, but they're trying to decide how much we are rerunning, how many reps of everything, because once again, you don't want to have everybody too fatigued. We're still going into that most important race of the day, which is that sprint relay. So, getting ready for it.
And as you said, Cassie, they're hungry out there. You don't want to get cold, and you don't want your breakfast to get cold, so you know what you got to do.
Got to eat your breakfast.
Yes, and finish it.
That's right. So, going into this, it's going to once again be that Jack and Jill race, the same thing that we just saw. The ring forward rolls, the deck to pullovers, and the deck to backflip. It was very, very close. So the fact that they're rerunning it either way is going to be interesting because the Brigade were able to do an extra forward roll, right? So that's really important if they only lost by like 1 or 2 seconds. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So like going into it, they know that they have a shot.
Now, my question, Cassie, is are they going to use the same players to do the same movements, or are they going to substitute from the rip? How does that work?
Well, I'll definitely say don't fix what's not broken. You know, it was really close enough that like everybody did what they had to do. It was just that the Brigade was forced to do an extra rep by a referee, which is, you know, like a grid error, you know, nothing on the teams. So definitely going to look forward to seeing what's happening here. There's a little bit of a
discussion going on right now. Yep.
That's right.
I love that the Commissioner Mather always has the eagle eyes. He wants to make sure that everything is right and correct. He's involved with everything out here, making sure that the athletes are happy. He's talking to both teams right now, both captains, and we're going to see what comes out of their discussion here.
That's right. I like Jess's shirt. It says, "We ain't worried about quadrant 4." That's so
That's hard. I love that.
Yeah.
Quadrant 4 is always usually the toughest. Usually on a lot of the elements, especially the ladder, that's the heaviest weight. So you got to get through it.
That's right. That's like the heaviest weight in almost every single race. In the sprint relay, it's the strongest element. In partner forward, it's the heaviest that you do the least amount of reps in, but it's the heaviest, you know. So they know that they have a strong team. Jess Krezmien, when I spoke to her earlier, she was excited about having a strong team. So just really cool. I really like that shirt. I want to see if I get one for me.
Hey, we get strong in the fourth quarter, baby. Let's do it.
That's right. Once again, we are rerunning that Jack and Jill due to a referee error. We're going to find out exactly who takes this one, who gets that point differential added to their score at the end of the match.
And at the end of this match, the team who wins is decided to go to the playoffs. So we're very excited to see who is going to pull this win out. Very important that they get to do this particular element as efficient and as quickly as possible.
That's right. We'll be right back.
All right, here we go. We're doing a thumb war tournament to see which Bryleigh is cooler. Sponsored by JerkFit. Loser.
3, okay.
Round 2, fight.
It's grippy.
Yeah, it's sticky.
Final round, fight.
How long is it? 2, 3,
we are back. Thank you for pardoning that interruption. We're going to do 10 deck to pullovers followed by 5 deck to backflips to rerun this Jack and Jill. The full rerun is not needed, just those last few elements. Once again, it was a referee error. It looks like they're sending out the same exact players that played last time, so we're going to see who can pull it out. It was very close, and let's see it. Here we are, Garrison Matthews, Cody Rice, for their respective teams. They are rep for rep, roll for roll over that bar. It's a total of 10. Oh, it looks like there was a fault from the Brigade. Not sure what happened there, but Cody Rice has a decent lead, already a hand up. 4 reps remaining for the Palms. Bryleigh Hansen lying in wait, Marissa Oxenford lying in wait to do those deck to backflips. Not sure what that dispute was about with Garrison Matthews reps.
Absolutely, and we can see it. They are already going right there. Bryleigh with the backflips right there. They are in a comfortable lead right now. Surprising that the Palms can pull it out this way.
That's right, 1 rep remaining for the Palms. Bryleigh taking her times, little small stride to the finish line.
Easy money for the Palms. Look at these Palms go, and their supporters were excited in the crowd out here today. Listen, everybody at home, if you've never been to a grid league, and if you're in the Florida area, if you haven't been to a grid league event, you got to come out. pop out, enjoy yourself, have some fun, just like these teams are having fun. Great win by the Palms just now.
Definitely. The Brigade are not happy about that, especially because they feel like there was some kind of dispute with the referees giving fault to Garrison Matthews during those deck to pullovers. Not sure necessarily what was happening there, but we are going to move on to the sprint relay. It looks like the South Beach Palms are going to increase their gap differential. So we'll be right back.
With one race in this match remaining.
We'll be right back.
I didn't think they were going to be good because they were frozen, but they're amazing.
Definitely can't find any healthy foods at an event, so this is awesome.
My favorite meal is eating.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sports out there that don't have the coverage that they deserve. We want to fix the holes that we see in event medicine. Elite 7 has extensive experience in all sports. We really have a passion and are really excited about serving some of those more underserved communities and growing sports such as CrossFit, combat sports, where they have different injuries and they just really need specialized care. We want to provide this continuity of care that does not exist at all in sports right now.
Unlike American football or baseball, where positions are very clearly defined with rules specific to them, Grid League positions are more general. Think of it as a spectrum with a 4-foot gymnast on one end and a 400-pound strongman on the other, with every possible size, shape, and skill set focus filling in the middle. Roles on the grid have a lot of crossover from position to position, and there are many possible combinations that will yield a great team. Grid League has 3 primary player positions or roles on the team. Utility players generally have a wide range of abilities and end up with a diverse set of assignments on the grid. Utility players, although often assigned more total work than specialists, will still focus on their best movements as their means to contribute to the team. The strength specialist role often involves heavier assignments and, depending on the player's background, may be even more focused to individual types of strength movement, such as Olympic weightlifting or strongmen. Most of the super high-skill movements like backward roll to support in deficit, freestanding handstand push-ups are performed by bodyweight specialists. That said, there are several bodyweight specialists that mainly focus on more basic movements, but for big sets and fast cycle rates. Many are gymnasts as well, but even some of the best do not have gymnastics backgrounds, such as former MVP Paul Lays. Learn more about the sport of Grid League at fgl.com/learn.
All right, folks, welcome back to the actual factuals. Our final race of the day of this match, once again, the sprint relay. We have a 150-pound heavy D-ball over a 45-inch. We have short rope climbs, 8-foot to 15-foot. We have toes to rings into the back uprise. We have a 150-pound D-ball carry that is to the third quadrant, back to the finish, back to the start rather, and then to the finish. We have deck to pistol over a 6-inch pole. We have 53-pound kettlebell squat snatch. We also have a 200-pound snatch, and we also have 200-pound clean and jerks.
That's right. We are finally getting into that sprint relay. We did have to rerun that Jack and Jill. Sorry for that interruption, but we are back on track. The Palms lead by 3 points here. They took that Jack and Jill twice. So it looks like we're going to find out who takes this match at the end. Right now, the Palms have a serious point differential to make up, as well as the Brigade are trying to get as many points as possible to be contenders for the playoffs tomorrow.
The Palms have put a strong showing on this whole morning. Great job by this team. Either way it goes, you can't beat it. They're building on, either way, they're building to go into the next season. So
that's right.
However it goes today, they're going to end on a great note, whichever teams win this particular match today.
That's right. So we're going to find out eventually after the next match who exactly is going to the playoffs. We can't tell you for sure right now because we don't know how the the next one will affect. And once again, it's point differential. It's not a win-loss thing. You know, we count up your scores from the entire season. The Brigade were only able to play in the super team with Rebecca Rouse and Dan Haberman back last month when we were in Las Vegas for the Mr. Olympia. The Palms did have a full team, so we're gonna find out now like where they're going to fall after this match.
And everybody at home in the chat, viewership, tell us how you feel about the matches so far. Are you following along? Is it exciting? We know it's exciting, but do you really like what you're seeing out there on the grid? Some things that you like to see change, some things you like to see do better, all of that. We love all of that interaction. So holler at us, let us know.
Definitely, and let us know who you think is going to take the sprint relay between the South Beach Palms and the Tampa Bay Brigade. Both of these teams are hungry. It's been close enough for the entire match that it's still anybody's. So we're definitely going to find out. The Palms still have I'm sorry, I misspoke. I thought they had a bonus flag in play, but both teams played the bonus flag and won their bonus flag. So we'll find out in just a second. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that bell to make sure that you are alerted of any Grid League news anytime we go live, anytime we post a video, as we'll be doing that a lot in the off season as well.
And I want to give a shout out to those beautiful Purple Heart plates out there that are on the grid, those gold barbells from Valor Fitness. Just beautiful. If you're in the running, if you're thinking about putting some in your gym or your garage, check those out if you wish.
Definitely. Shout out to Valor for all the equipment that you see here on the grid, especially those Purple Heart plates and that golden barbell. Shout out to Peachy Athletics for all the bottom halves that you see on the athletes here on the grid today. And shout out for Olipop for being our title sponsor. You can see that logo on every person's uniform, looking great, making us feel great, adding that fiber into our life while tasting delicious.
Yum, yum.
Stand by.
Final race of the match, Tampa Bay Brigade versus the South Beach Palms. Brett Henry versus Courtney Moss on this D-ball yoke over the, D-ball over the yoke, 150 pounds, over 45 inches. It looks like they have ladies lying in wait, and I was right. That's going to be Brielle Maccarelli finishing up, and that's Hannah West finishing up for the Tampa Bay Brigade. Both ladies are going to finish at the same time and send that next person out for the next movement. Here we have Atul Cabral, really tall, great on that short rope because he is so tall. Dalton Herrero, just an absolute monkey on the grid, really good at these. He's going to finish those up. 4-point touch, and he's going to be making it to the finish line ahead, making up some serious time for the Brigade. Chris Chaffee is coming out, and they're going to be doing those 4 toaster rings and the back uprises versus Bryleigh Hansen.
And this is the type of race where you leverage your depth, you know what your team can do, you put them in the best position to win. As we've mentioned it all day, the Palms are at a deficit when it comes to their depth. So we're going to see them put as much heart as they can out there. Tampa Bay looks like a well-oiled machine out there with championship medal. They're going to try to finish as strong as they possibly can. So let's see how everything ends at this particular race.
That's right. Chris Chaffee finishing ahead of Bryleigh Hansen, and that's going to bring Garrison Matthews with the lead to make it to the finish line first. Marcus Washington close behind, making up some good time for the Palms here. Here's Marissa Oxenford doing those deck to pistol over a 6-inch pole. And here is Sam Secord for the Palms. Both of these ladies really good at the pistols. Oh, and Sam Secord's going to get a pole. She has to fix that pole. That's what I was talking to you about earlier. It is your responsibility as a player to fix that. 4 reps remaining
again.
For Sam Secord. Oh, man, this is not good. Marissa Oxenford already at the finish line. Jocelyn Williams is going to come out, and she's going to be hitting those kettlebell squat snatches at 53 pounds. Sam Secord just finishing up and going to run into the finish line. And who is that going to bring out for the Palms? None other than Jessica Placencia coming out, hand up already for the Brigade. Placencia is going to have to make up some serious time. She's pretty good with these kettlebell snatches.
Yeah, so you have to make sure you lock out with that snatch. The refs are looking for specific things. That squat has to be down, all the way down in that bucket. And as you can see, the Palms have to make up a little bit of ground out there. Tampa Bay seems to be a little bit ahead. We're going to see how the Palms can finish strong here.
Yeah, Jocelyn Williams looking really strong at those. Jess Placencia as well. Seth Prohaska coming out for those 6 snatches at 200 pounds. That is going to be the last element of the sprint relay before the clean and jerks. So we're going to see a lot of heavy snatches. Seth Prohaska already finishing ahead, and he's going to go to the finish line. Brandon Schipper trying to make up as much time as possible. 3 reps remaining, and that's a fault. 3 reps remaining for him. Rebecca Rouse coming out for the clean and jerks. 200 pounds for her, making it look like light work. Take a look at her over there on the Brigade side.
And Brandon, he's always seemed to be there in the quadrant 4, trying to finish. He's done a lot of heavy lifting today. I know he's pooped a little bit. Great finish by him there, trying to get through that grid. And Tampa Bay looks to have finished and won the race. Great win by Tampa Bay Brigade, finishing strong today. They came in, they showed out, they showed up, and they conquered. Great job, Tampa Bay.
That's right. Cody Rice finishing up those last few reps remaining for the Palms. 50 seconds on the clock, so he's just taking his time, making sure he hits that 4-point touch before he goes to the finish line. That's going to leave us with a total score of 18 for the Palms and 17 for the Brigade. So it looks like the Palms are going to add 1 point to the final score, and that's only 1 point towards the differential for the Palms. That means they end up with -4. Meanwhile, the Brigade have 6 unofficially. So we still don't know who of these teams is going to be going to the playoffs, if any, because we still have another match coming up. Lions versus the Aces, thank you. Brigade versus Palms was very exciting. Both these teams hungry, hoping for their spot at the playoffs.
Great showing by both teams.